All right. Well, as much as the country has resigned itself to inaction, we still need to protest for Gaza. And so Kamala ran into some Gaza protesters again for a second time on the campaign trail.
Again.
So Russell, go ahead.
She got a do-over.
Yes.
And this time she was
she nailed it this time?
Oh, she nailed it already.
Oh, she was so much better. She was so much better.
Oh man, I knew she was going to turn it around. I knew that she was just going to.
She's a great person at heart.
She is.
Fix all the problems.
She really cares. She's not a psychopath at all.
Yeah, just this whole entire time, she's been totally against Biden's genocide in Gaza. Just totally against it.
Yeah, she can't say anything about it. She's the vice president.
Yeah.
And here's a wasp straight out of the K-Hive, Renee Petty Lapone, aka. Kamala Harris addresses hecklers in Arizona and says she is committed to a ceasefire, all caps, and to getting hostages home. I told you so. So now that she's taken your notes and responded the way y'all said she should, put some respect on her name. You hear that? Put some respect on her name.
Hear that, you crazy kids?
You hear that? You hear that? She took your notes like a good actress. And she took the adjustment. So let's see her incredible work.
Fight for our democracy. Which includes respecting the voices that I think that we are hearing from. And let me just say this on topic of what I think I'm hearing over there. Let me just speak to that for a moment, and then I'm going to get back to the business at hand. So let me say, I have been clear. Now is the time to get a ceasefire deal and get the hostage deal done. Now is the time. And the president and I are working around the clock every day to get that ceasefire deal done and bring the hostages home. So I respect your voices, but we are here to now talk about this race in 2024.
I mean, that is a beautiful moment there. I'm starting to question why I do this show, actually.
It really does.
Maybe I should call Harry Sis on, see if there are any openings available. Maybe we should just take it down.
Let's call Pod Save, man. I feel like we would fit right in over there.
Just moved me to tears there. Yeah, I'm a changed man after that.
Yeah. No, as I've said about Kamala, she can deliver. She's like an actress. She can deliver a line if she has a script. And like an actress, she's a complete ding-dong without one. But her crowd doesn't really care about underlying contradictions, as our friend Nick at RBN has pointed out a lot. Most of the advice from so-called progressives was, Kamala, you need to lie better.
Right, bullshit.
You need to lie better, yeah. And that's what she did here.
Exactly.
Right, and we can demonstrate that she was just lying better. Another friend of show, Professor Zinkus, threw this up. Kamala calls for a ceasefire at a rally the same day she and Joe Biden sent $3.5 billion in weapons to Israel. They think we are idiots. So let's see what he's talking about. Washington will provide, this is the same day that she talked about how they're working round the clock for the ceasefire. Same day. Washington will provide Israel $3.5 billion to spend on U.S. weapons and military equipment, the State Department said on Friday, with the release of the money coming months after the U.S. Congress appropriated it during Israel's war in Gaza. A State Department spokesperson said on Friday, and this is after they bombed a school, by the way, said on Friday that the department notified Congress on Thursday that the government intended to release the billions of dollars worth of foreign military financing to Israel. CNN reported earlier on the release of this amount, which comes from a $14 billion supplemental funding bill for Israel passed by the Congress in April. But we're not done, folks. So This group, Undecided, in Michigan, they had hopes. I don't know what she might have said to them to indicate this. I don't know if they were hearing what they wanted to hear, if she just lied to them. But they were starting to put out there the idea that she might call for a weapons embargo against Israel. And her national security advisor shut that down real quick. Kamala Harris refuses to back Israel arms embargo amid Gaza war. U.S. Vice President and presidential candidate Kamala Harris does not support an arms embargo on U.S. ally Israel, a top aide said on Thursday in one of the first substantive statements on her Gaza war policy since her July entry into the 2024 White House race. The comment came a day after the U.S. vice president was heckled by pro-Palestinian protesters at a rally for the first time since she became the Democratic candidate less than 3 weeks ago. Now, if you want to look at the little waltz that she's doing, so to speak, so based on what they're saying, this came between the two reactions. So she makes a point of getting out in front of any rumor that she's going to meaningfully change policy in a way that could send AIPAC to Trump, because AIPAC don't give a fuck. They'll go to Trump in a heartbeat if they don't like what she's saying. So she gets out there. No, we're good. And then she goes up there and gives the vibes that her brain dead followers need to feel good about being on the Kamala train. She wants a ceasefire and she wants the hostages home. See, she's wants it all, and they're just gonna keep doing the same.
But it's not just, if I could just interject, it's not just brain dead followers. There is an element of this that is more cynical and even more sinister than that, which is it gives these so-called progressives who were all about boycotting Joe Biden an out into saying, well, it looks like Kamala's different. Don't forget, Kyle Kalinske. Basically, yes. I mean, he did endorse Jill Stein. He made a video saying, I'm for Jill Stein. Right. So as long as it was Biden, he couldn't go there because Biden is what? President overseeing the genocide. So now the vice president has some plausible deniability. And if she says, I'm considering an arms embargo to Israel, that gives me the sort of leeway to tell my audience, oh, never mind Jill Stein. Let's vote for Kamala, especially because Tim Walz is the next it just it's giving progressives an out. It's giving them an excuse to back the Democratic ticket, where they couldn't do that with Biden because Biden was just, I guess, I don't know what, too offensive. She's the vice president. Like, this is what I don't understand about Trump. I'm sorry to keep going back to this. He
was old and white.
Well, I'm sorry to keep going back to this, but this is a part of the point. It's the same record. She's the vice president.
Right.
It's the Biden-Harris record. If you're running against Harris...
As they have gone out of their way to impress on people. It's the Biden-Harris administration.
Exactly. Right? So you can run against her the exact same way. You don't have to do all this. Anyway, I don't want to get side. I don't want to make this derail every segment with that obsession.
I'm talking more about the progressives. It's given them the ability to unburden themselves from what has been about the Biden administration and to give them that little opening to, oh, okay, good. Now we can sheep her back in the Democratic Party. The genocide by Biden was just too far. They had to take it to a next level. Now they can just sweep people. We can sweep the so-called leftists back into the Democratic Party, unburdened by the narrative.
Right, because Kamala will be different. She'll be better.
Oh, yeah. She's gonna be so great.
Let's finish this up. Harris also met with groups opposed to the war after the rally in Detroit, Michigan. Participants reportedly said they brought up the issue of halting U.S. arms supplies to Israel. And this is her national security advisor shutting that down. VP has been clear. She will always ensure Israel is able to defend itself against Iran and Iran-backed terrorist groups. Meet the new boss, folks. Same as the old boss. She does not support an arms embargo on Israel. She will continue to work to protect civilians in Gaza and to uphold international humanitarian law. This is the week that videos emerged of Israeli soldiers attacking prisoners, shall we say, on the East Berlin side of the wall, which we'll cover on the West Berlin side. This is the same week they bombed a school and killed 100 people. So how do you square protecting civilians and upholding international humanitarian law with absolutely taking an arms embargo off the table. How do those things go together? They do not.
They're Iranian. They're Iranian-backed civilians.
That's right. It's all about the vibes. It's all about the vibes. And my analysis of the campaign, just as a pundit, as someone who's trying to predict outcomes and notice trends, is that this is going to be the year of the vibe, and that the vibes may well carry the day.
Well, there's what I mean. It's like watching the country circle down the drain. It's like a game. When you get to the end of a game, the options narrow, right? That's what defines most games. You have infinite options at the beginning, and then you have less and less and less until almost none. That's the country. That's the country.
And
you're seeing everything become more prescribed.
When you analyze the race in a very macro sense, you can see that, and you can like that or not like that. We've all been devastated by election outcomes in the past. We've all been very frustrated with this country in the past in terms of how they vote. I remember in 2004 as a teenager, just could not believe the country could reelect George W. Bush, given what he had done. We've all been to that place. I'm sort of used to that. What I can't get used to and cannot forgive is people in the commentator space, and I'm not trying to start beefs or get into drama world, but people who that'll be Tuesday. But people who consider themselves serious political thinkers on the left, who all of a sudden turn off the part of their brain that was protesting a genocide for the past 10 months to somehow delude themselves and their followers into thinking that Kamala is going to be better. I mean, that is
she's
just a place
telling you right here she's not going to.
Exactly.
She's going to be rhetorically better, which is what the end of this article really gets into. As vice president, Harris has sometimes been more critical than Biden of the civilian casualties caused by Israel's offensive in Gaza. So she's going to write the strongly worded letter to Netanyahu. Harris made a major shift in tone after Biden dropped out of the 2024 election, saying in a strongly worded statement after she met Israeli Premier Benjamin Netanyahu that she would not be silent on the situation. She's going to write those letters. But the comments by you knock it off, But the comments by Harris's advisor appeared to make it clear she would not go as far as endorsing any kind of all-out pause in arms transfers. Under Biden, the White House has only halted the delivery of a single shipment of heavy bombs to Israel over concerns about how they would be used. The U.S., however, has provided billions worth of arms to Israel throughout the war in Gaza, which has been ongoing for over 10 months. On Wednesday in Detroit, Harris and her new running mate, Tim Walz, briefly met the leaders of the uncommitted group that had mobilized people to cast protest votes against Biden in this year's Democratic primary, U.S. media reported. Its founders told the New York Times that they had asked Harris for a full meeting to discuss their calls for an embargo, and Harris told them she was open to a meeting. Yeah, she's open to a meeting if she thinks that it will be to her political advantage, because the libs that would vote for Kamala Harris will certainly not push her on the point of, I met with them and I think they have some good points and we are going to continue to have a conversation, but our alliance with Israel, I made clear, is not open to negotiation, but more must be done to protect the Palestinian people.
I think
same policy, no change.
I think if we want to hold her accountable and to push Kamala Harris left, we should be launching a campaign to put Ro Khanna, Kristen Sinema, Pramila Jayapal on a strongly worded letter. Committee. I think that's how we get real change in the country.
Kamala, the strongly worded letter candidate.
Good plan.
Please clap.